Gosh, last time I felt like the lighting was so bad. I'm trying to get it adjusted here. How you living? What's up, everybody? I'm Johnny Ray, and this is 5R Recovery at my house today. No Dan Hillman. There's been some family issues going on in my life, so I decided to do a single video. I haven't done a video in a while. It seems like it's been almost, 2 weeks or so. I'm going to try to adjust this light. Is that better? I feel like maybe it's the hat. I don't know. Maybe I'll just keep my chin up. Anyway, I hope everybody is doing well. Recovery is going very well. It is an absolute wonderful day to be alive. I'm not going to talk too long. I think my last video was a little bit too long as a single. I got some in-depth into my own recovery, which is good. I still think this lighting is terrible, but we're just going to have to make do. Anyway, so what I want to talk about today is replacements. We are so quick as addicts to replace drugs with something else. When we get clean off of our drug of choice, it always seems like we, add things. And our last Tuesday night meeting, it was really awesome. Oh, good morning, Gracie. Good to see you. I hope all is well. I heard your mom's doing really well at her new job. That's awesome. Miss ya. Love ya. So we talked about it at our last meeting about replacements, right? Like what we replace things in our life with our drug of choice. And it's funny that all the same people in the circle, you get 30 people in a room and they all have the same kind of replacement things, right? They replace it with energy drinks, or they smoke more cigarettes, or, eating. Like we all get really fat in recovery. And the reason we do that is because it's not the heroin that we're trying to fix. It's not the methamphetamine we're trying to fix. It's not the alcohol we're trying to fix. It's the addictive behavior. It's the mentality that makes us want to do things that make us feel better. Moms is mince. Moms is mince. All right. I don't know what that means, but yeah, maybe mom is good. Maybe mince is a word that these young adults use that I am totally not aware of, right? I'm going to start using it though, Grace. I'm going to start saying things are mince. I'm sorry. I'm a little congested. I'm at the house because I'm a little under the weather. Family's a little under the weather. So if I sound stuffy, I am. Yes, I'm decked out in 5R swag because I got some networking to do. 5R recovery is going really, really well. Her replacement is mince, like the kind you eat. Oh, awesome. Oh, mince. So Amanda's replacement is mince. So she overdoes mince. Is that what you're saying, Grace? That's pretty funny. We didn't hear about that one on Tuesday night. Nobody said, hey, you know what I do? I like to have my breath minty fresh all the time. And so, but I've actually seen Amanda overindulge on mints. I'll be sitting next to her and she doesn't just suck on them. She chews them, right? So it's like, she'll hand me one, I'll pop it in, and she'll go through one, and then she'll go through another. And I'm like, what are you doing? But at least it's mints, right? Her breath is fresh. She smells good. It could be something way worse. I think when people start vaping and chewing and smoking all at the same time, holy cow. Recipe for disaster. I mean, what is your end goal here? People like to overconsume tobacco products, or coffee is another one. People drink like 2 pots of coffee a day. The reason I want to talk about this, and it's so important, is because we are trying to become healthy, okay? At least I'm trying to become healthy. That's why I've quit all of the stuff in my life that was also hindering me. Like, for instance, I quit smoking cigarettes. I quit vaping. I only drink 1 cup of coffee a day. I don't drink energy drinks. These are all things that I believe hinder people in their recovery. We're so quick to look for a replacement. Honestly, mints, I don't think it's that bad, Grace. I think mints is, I think anybody can overdo anything, right? We are addicts. We do have that personality trait. We do have that behavior, right? So, but again, mints, I can think of other things that are way worse, like food, for instance. I'm a really big eater. Like, I can't believe how much weight I've gained in my recovery. And I'm going to start working on that now. So it's been almost 4 years, me being clean. I'll be clean August 14th. Will be my 4-year clean. I'm still doing the nose thing. So I'm going to work on getting back in shape. I need to lose about 40 pounds to be where I want to be. But food tastes so good. Food is just amazing. I really am enjoying my steaks and all the different things. So I do have to work on that. But I thought it was so interesting. What 5R Recovery's definition of addiction is anything you use other than God to numb or dull the effects of life is an addiction. Now, that's a very important thing that we talk about in 5R Recovery. because people always have their different definitions for what addiction is. Listen to what I said. I said anything other than God that you use to numb or dull the effects of life is an addiction. Okay. So what do you use that makes you feel better? God, this shadow too. It's just the lighting so bad. Sorry, I'm live. I don't usually go live in here. I feel like that light is just horrible. Anyway. So what do you use, right? What makes you feel better? I think everybody should be turning to God in their life when they have something going on, right? When they're stressed about something, when they're struggling with their job, struggling with their family. It's time to pray and get connected with God. Maybe I should just take the hat off. Is that better, Grace? Is the lighting horrible if you're still on? Horrible. Anyway. God, I love the hat though. Anyway, sorry, I'm off topic. Anyway, so what is that? What is that thing, right? And a lot of people are like, well, I don't do meth anymore, so my life is good. You know, my life is good. I don't do meth, but I smoke a pack a day. I vape and I chew. And you're like, man, it's time to start weaning yourself off of that. We are so quick to add a replacement for the drugs that we used. I used drugs to deal with everything. So when I got clean, I had to deal with everything. There is a difference between being clean and being in recovery, right? When I got clean, I had to face everything. That's the recovery part. Getting clean is the stopping the use of the drugs, and the recovery part is facing everything without it. Right? It's really basic. It's really simple. But a lot of people are so quick to jump to the Suboxone train, or they're so quick to jump to these other things that still make them feel better. I got news for you, people. Big pharma is probably the biggest problem in the world today. And that is 100% accurate. Do you research Oxycontins and where they came from? Do you research fentanyl? Do you research Vicodin? Do you research Percocet? Do you research Suboxone? Do you research methadone? You should be researching all of this stuff because all it is just synthetic drugs. It's just drugs that you used to get on the street that now you get from a doctor who's prescribing it to you. I'm not saying that they don't serve their purpose, but we are so quick to jump on that easy train. I'm going to make myself feel better by taking this because it makes me feel better. Why do you deserve to feel better? You expect to do damage to your body for so long and then you're entitled to be feeling better immediately? That's the problem with our world. You should go through pain. You should go through struggle. It should be difficult for you to wake up in the morning. It was for me, and I toughed it out. You got to tough it out. Our degrees of addiction should not make it so we have an easy path of recovery. It should be work. That's the whole part of 5-hour recovery. I think that's why I get the most flack, right? Is because I think I show a little tough love. You know, we were at the diversion center last night. And I felt like the people there were really into what we were saying because here they are, habitual relapsers. Well, why are they habitual relapsers? We need to figure out what it is. Well, when all their resources and everything are provided for them, it's really, really easy for them to relapse and go right back to the same thing that accepted them. What if a place like the diversion center no longer allowed you after the first time you went in there? So you get one shot. You get one shot to go to the diversion center, and then you go to your treatment, then you go to your housing, you get one shot. If you fail and it doesn't work out, no more diversion center is an option for you. Why is that not the way we approach things? Does that seem harsh? So we should give this revolving door to people to constantly keep coming back? I don't give that. If you come to me and we work 5R together and we accomplish all these things and you relapse, I'm done. That's it. I'm sorry. You can come back to our meetings and still be a part of our group, but I'm not going to work with you with the resources and provide the same things because it's the mentality that we've got to fix. It's the responsibility that people need to start taking for their actions and their choices. We need to get it out of their heads that, oh my gosh, I was powerless against this addiction. Bull. And this isn't coming from somebody on the outside looking in. I'm not some guy that's out there trying to ridicule people about their addiction. I'm somebody that got clean in the back of a pickup truck. No treatment. No medication, and I was in a lot of pain, and I cried for 60 days, poured my heart out, couldn't sleep, used the bathroom, passed out in garbage. I did 60 days solid by myself with no assistance and got clean. So I know it's possible. So if it seems like I'm being insensitive, it's not. It's that some people go this route, some people go this route. Well, I'm all about this route. I think it's all about you taking responsibility for your choices, standing up to your addiction, and making yourself better. Gosh, I'm still trying to work out this camera thing. Anyway, all I'm saying is it's time for people to start realizing that the drugs is just like this. I don't know. It's just their escape. It's just what they go to deal with things. It's not the problem. The problem usually has to do with trauma, has to do with some kind of depression or anxiety. It's all mental health. It's all stuff that they've struggled with throughout their past. It's definitely difficult to face our past rather than just do something that makes us feel better. Stop replacing your drugs with something else and then expecting you to have any kind of recovery. If you drink 2 pots of coffee a day, that is too much freaking coffee. Okay, period. And people should be telling you that. Like when they get clean, oh, I don't do meth anymore. Well, you do this, which is way too much. And you need to energy drinks. Okay. I think energy drinks are so bad for you. And people are so used to being up on methamphetamine that when they get clean, they don't have the energy to do anything. Yep, you're right. You won't have the energy to do things. So how tough are you? Are you willing to be tough enough to go out there and work a job when you're not feeling hyper? Or are you going to drink 6 Red Bulls and claim that you're better because you don't do methamphetamine? You think those 6 Red Bulls are good for you? No, they're not good for you. You should be trying to make yourself a happy, healthy, productive member of society. You should be able to deal with things with no medication. I'm on no medication right now. None. I don't take pills for anything. I haven't in over a year and a half. I don't take things for depression. I don't take things for anxiety. I don't take things to sleep. I don't take things to make myself feel better. I got more involved in God. I got more involved in service. I got more involved in my recovery. I got more involved in facing my past. And that's why I'm able to live the way I live, which is completely 100% medication free. Now, when we're talking about mental health, this is a little bit different. Obviously, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to try to convince you that I'm a doctor. But what I am trying to say is that you should be seeking multiple evaluations to get treated for it. They are very quick. Doctors are very, very quick to give everybody depression and anxiety medication. If it was their way, everybody would be on depression and anxiety medication. And the reason that is because they get a huge kickback for all that Zoloft, for all those medications that they give you. You see, their hospitals, their paychecks are funded by those big pharma companies. So every single time that they give you a depression med, there's a secret thing, a reason why they're doing it. You see, it's not just so cold, cut, and dry. It's not so black and white. This is what we should all be trying to do in society, is realizing that, think about this. Think about what generation started taking all these pills, right? How many people do you know that are on some kind of medication? I'd say I'm one of the few, if you're watching this video, that is on no medications. Let's go out and interview every single person. Like, say we'll interview the first 100 people that we encounter. Let's ask them what kind of medications there are. How many of those 100 people are on the same medication? Aren't you curious? I am. I'm curious. Let's see. How many are on Zoloft? How many are on Adderall? How many are you on this? How many are on that? I want to know. And the reason is because what? We're all crazy. So if we're all crazy, and I agree we all are crazy, I also agree we're all addicts and we're all on these medications. Why is it required that we be on these medications in order to function in life? Why is it so important for us to deal with things with cigarettes? Why is it so important that we deal with things with food or sex, right? Like, what is your replacement for your DOC? I know I sometimes come off like this, right? Like I come off like maybe a little bit too aggressive or how I deal with recovery. I'm out there every single day, people. I work really, really hard on studying these things and learning these things. And I love people. Relationships over resources. I have tons of relationships with some amazing people in all walks of life. And what we're starting to find out is that there is this narrative being spun that in order for you to get well as an addict, you need other people. You need other people's resources, and you need medication. And I'm living proof that you don't. You don't need that. I am a happy, healthy, productive member of society. I go out every single day and help others, which is what you should be doing, which is the actual key to success. God has to come first before everything. People like to list their stuff, right? They're like, well, what comes first for you? Well, for me, it's recovery, and then it's family. No, God has to come first and foremost, every time, all the time, okay? Then your recovery, then your family. And you're like, whoa, family's third on the list? Yes. As an addict, family is third on the list. That doesn't mean that they're not a top priority. It just means that they're third on the list. Jody Ray, you did have help. God was in the back of the truck with you, Dad. Thank you, Dad. I 100%. See, he's a minute delay, so he probably didn't hear my whole minute thing. Yes, I did have help. And my dad was also there to help me. But the pain, the crying, the pain, the nightmares, the lack of sleep, the sleeping, the no food, you can only go one way, which is when you're completely brought down to nothing, you can get brought back up. Sometimes it takes that. The hardest thing I tell people is not everybody's going to make it. That's just a fact. You know, when I get parents that want to ask me questions about recovery, it's hard to tell them that, you know what, your son or daughter might not make it. And they think, oh my gosh, that's insensitive. Yeah. I mean, you can think of it however you want, but it's honest and it's the truth. And at 5 Hour Recovery, we are all about being blunt and real and raw and letting you know that this is a battle for the fittest. Not everybody's going to survive. Not everybody's going to get through this. In fact, I don't even help the ones that don't want help. Why would I help somebody that doesn't want help? Why would I help somebody that's not willing to? If I walk up to you and I ask you, hey, do you want to get clean? And you even hesitate for like a second, I'm not helping you. I don't got time because there's 1,000 other people that actually want help. And I think that's the problem. I think these fellowships and these programs are all about trying to help on a massive scale when you've got to realize that these people over here, they don't want help. So I can't waste my time and resources. I can't try to build relationships with people that don't want help. There is something else for those kinds of people. There's something else for the people that don't want responsibility. There's something else for them. It's not 5 Hour Recovery. 5 Hour Recovery begins and ends with you wanting help. And we will help you with that if you decide that you want that kind of help, right? So that's what we're all about. We're all about the raw. We're all about the real. You come to me, I can give you assistance, but it's only if you want the assistance. I feel like this world is all about trying to coddle people. And lately, it seems like everybody has to have, like, everybody's the victim. I need you to pay for my rent. I need you to pay for my medication. I need you to pay for my gas. I need you to, and it's like, I need. What do you contribute to society by all of these things giving you, right? That's what it is. It's incentive, right? So why do all of these people every single day who are struggling on the streets, they need something, want something, get something, and then when they get something, they relapse and they go back through because you're not addressing any of the issues. You're just giving them handouts. You're just giving them things. Now, I'm not saying I haven't had an amazing family, an amazing recovery journey, but I've worked my butt off for it. I've worked every single day for it. It was through the headaches. Gosh, people take medication for just having a headache. Just deal with the headache. Well, I drink 3 Red Bulls a day and I have to take a med for my headache. Maybe it's the 3 Red Bulls that are giving you the headache. Maybe you don't drink enough water. Shouldn't you be seeking these things, trying to understand what OxyContin is? You guys got to remember, OxyContin was the wonder drug. It was the first wonder drug. It was the first drug that came out that could take care of pain like that. What does that sound like now? Why is it molding into these different medications throughout life? Why is that? Think about it. OxyContin was the wonder drug. Came out, oh, it takes people's pain away instantly. They can use it for surgery and all this stuff, right? So let's see. Vicodin, Percocet, then OxyContin. OxyContin's stronger than both Vicodin and Percocet, right? And then they were like, man, we have this other stuff called morphine. Why do you need all 4 of these different medications when one is stronger than all of them? Wouldn't you just need less of a dosage? I don't know, maybe because there's a market for Vicodin. Maybe there's a market for OxyContin. Who makes these pills, right? Which companies are they? And how much are those companies receiving to distribute those medications to different places? This is stuff you should be researching because you are a product of what's going on. You are no longer a patient. You are a customer. You are reliant on other pills, other medications to replace your DOC. It's very dangerous. It's to the point where you will have medications going in and out of your body for the rest of your life. Now, was it like this 200 years ago? Heck no. People weren't pumping themselves full of big pharma. It was only the last 200 years where big pharma, medications, doctors started taking this role. Like, how am I going to receive funding from people who don't have any money? The best way to do is to be supported by, say, a big pharmacy company who distributes pills. I'll make sure and distribute those pills so long as I get a kickback and I get some help. That is a real thing, people. It is a real thing. The doctor is now a salesman. I'm not saying, again, that's people, if you don't say, I'm not saying, people like to jump down my throat. I'm not saying that there's not good doctors out there. I'm not saying that there's not good teachers out there. I'm not saying that there's not good pills out there that help people. What I'm saying is do the freaking research. Look into it, because I have. And everything I see leads up to the Vicodin led to the Percocet led to the Oxycontin led to the morphine led to the methadone, the methadone led to the fentanyl led to Suboxone, and it just keeps going and going and going. Remember when methadone was like the it? Like methadone, oh my gosh, it's the new drug that helps everybody off of heroin, and everybody was taking it. And then people got so hooked on the methadone, they weren't like getting better. They were just taking methadone. And now you have people stealing and committing crimes for the methadone. What does that sound like? And then when you look at the symptoms or the bad parts of methadone, nausea, dizzy, may get high, shouldn't be driving on it. And you're like, wait a second, you just convinced me that this would help me with this. They should have been convincing you that this is this. It's the same thing. You're just buying it from somebody who told you to get it now, right? Because that person receives a kickback. That person is still allowed to practice because they're distributing now methadone. So then methadone's out the door, right? And then they bring in this fentanyl. Fentanyl, same thing. It's being brought across our borders right now, okay? Fentanyl. 106,000 people died last year. 106,000 people from fentanyl alone. If we were to look at Oxycontin overdoses, Vicodin overdoses, Percocet overdoses, fentanyl, method, whatever it is, if we were to look at all of these pills and overdoses, what number do you think we would be at? Do you think it would be higher than the heroin overdoses? I think so. Do you think they talk about it? No. Why don't they talk about it? These are questions that you guys should all be asking in your addiction, right? This is stuff that I have studied and I've looked into because I see this world starting to create this bigger problem where, see, pills can be regulated. They can be funded, they can be paid for, they can be distributed. And what it means is, like, when you look at the methadone clinic, right? The methadone clinic that used to be out here, when you look at the methadone clinic, people are lined up around the corner to get their methadone. Does anybody else think that that's weird? That you're lined up around the corner to get a prescription prescribed to you from a doctor that is the same thing as its counterpart, which is heroin? That should freak you out. Like, you're lining up around the block. You're not lining up to do anything else. You're not even lining up at the DMV to get your driver's license back, but you'll sure line up to get that methadone. Does that not seem strange to you? Does that not seem like there's some kind of control in that? Doesn't it seem weird that you're willing to spend your entire day waiting in line for something that'll make you feel better because they told you it'll make you feel better? And then the methadone goes away because they're like, oh my gosh, we've created a problem, just like they created a problem with fentanyl, right? They distributed it because it could relieve pain in minutes and people could go all day, and it's 50 times stronger than morphine. 50 times stronger than morphine. You need that kind of instant pain relief? What, are you so weak that you can't deal with pain? Think about that. How many people should just sit in their freaking pain and deal with it and learn to adapt? Here's the thing. When you take medication for a long period of time, the reason they up your dosage is because you built up a tolerance to it, okay? It's the same thing with pain. Pain, the more you experience, the more you build up a tolerance to. Now, let's think about that, right? So if I am always depressed, right, for long periods of time, it should take me less time to get over that depression if I face that depression. Now, if we replace that, taking that time to deal with depression with, say, a depression medication, now we haven't faced depression at all, and we're taking that depression medication to deal with that depression, right? So the depression medication is getting higher. Your resistance to depression is getting worse. You are creating this inevitable outcome that is extremely dangerous, and that's what you're seeing in the generations today. People that don't know how to deal with their feelings being hurt. They don't know how to deal with things they disagree with. They're out there causing problems, creating all these situations because you need to take care of me because you hurt my feelings. I lost my job, so I fell into this massive depression. Or I freaking, I got into a car accident, so I fell into this massive depression. Well, don't worry. Just go to the doctor and they'll up your dosage and you'll feel better. Why? Why are we doing this? Why are we not working towards happy, healthy, productive members of society? Now, again, I'm not a doctor. People who suffer from schizophrenia, large scale bipolar, there's all these things that, again, are debatable. But I want to have the discussion. I want to see why it is that our whole goal is to not get people off of big pharma and onto natural methods that don't do their body harm. Let's talk about long-term Suboxone use, okay? Now, I have a lot of friends in recovery. I have a lot of programs that I talk to and I share information with, and we go back and forth and we have these discussions. Those are the programs that, okay, I have respect for, even though I don't necessarily agree with their methods, okay? I had an amazing discussion with a person, and she works for one of these companies. I'm not going to use her name unless she probably doesn't care that I do, but I'm not going to use her name. And I asked her, I said, so your guys' Suboxone program is working? She said, yes. I said, what's the longest that your Suboxone program is for? And she was like, I don't know, sometimes 1 to 2 to 3 years. I said, so people are on Suboxone for 2 to 3 years at a maximum? She's like, yes, but we really encourage to wean them off. Encouragement is not making them no longer get Suboxone. You can encourage people all you want to not speed on the freeway, but it isn't until they get that large speeding ticket that they stop speeding. Think about that. Like that's so here I am like, she's like, what would you do? I said 6 months mandatory. You get Suboxone for 6 months and you're done. They cut you off completely. If you're not weaned off in 6 months, you no longer can get Suboxone. You go up on a board. They keep track of your name. You are no longer allowed to get Suboxone from that facility. And they're like, well, I don't know. I think that maybe it's 6 months to a year. Okay, whatever you decide it is, 6 months to a year, that's fine. Stick to it. But then why are people still in the program for 2 to 3 years? I'll tell you, because the program that's distributing that Suboxone is making a lot of money off distributing that Suboxone. So you are no longer a client or a patient. You are a customer, and they will keep coming you back. Methamphetamine withdrawals is not as near as bad as heroin withdrawals. Okay. Having withdrawals from opiates makes you nauseous, makes you sick. Now, she did give me some information that I didn't know. I heard it's harder for our brain function to get back and recovered from methamphetamine addiction than it is heroin. But as far as the withdrawals and the sickness, it's harder with heroin, right? They're going to prescribe you Suboxone for both. Why? Oh, because they receive a lot of money for that Suboxone. Again, why is it? So heroin's downers, methamphetamine's uppers. This one gets you really sick. This one doesn't get you so sick. Well, I know people on methamphetamine that were trying to get Suboxone to deal with their withdrawals, which they didn't have any withdrawals, but they had no problem going to these places and getting the Suboxone that could take care of it. These are things that everybody should be asking themselves, why? Why are we caught up in a world where pills and let's talk about big tobacco. Big tobacco makes millions and billions of dollars on addicts, right? Their focal point is addicts, right? People who vape and cigarettes and chewing tobacco it wants to make you keep coming back. So they raise the price, they get you addicted to the cigarettes. They raise the cost of tobacco, right? You keep coming back regardless. You're willing to get a pack of cigarettes rather than groceries for your family at this particular point, right? So why? Because the big tobacco industry is in it to make money. They put those Surgeon General things right on the side of it. Oh, Fat Pack, good morning, buddy. Good to see you. Missed you. Sorry I didn't come by today. I decided to do a little video at home. Big tobacco, right? They put those Surgeon General warnings on it. We know how dangerous and bad for us cigarettes are, and we still continue to do it. It's the same thing with prescription drugs. We know how bad they are. We just continue to do it. Why? When are we going to take a stand? When are we going to go, you know what? Let's put some regulations and rules on this output. Let's put some regulations and rules on the different things that we consume. Let's take a serious look into our past and let's learn to recover, right? Let's recover from drug addiction. The drug addiction mindset, the personality that keeps us locked in, makes us want to overeat. Now, I'm not one to talk, right? I love food. Food is absolutely amazing. I seriously have to work on my food intake. I am eating things that they just taste good. I need to start eating more fruits, more vegetables. I need to drink more water. So I'm ready for that. That's the next step. I quit smoking cigarettes. I quit vaping. I quit doing all the stuff, right? Now I'm to the point where it's exercise and I got to start eating better. It's got to happen. So what are those steps that I'm willing to take? Me getting off of all prescriptions was a huge thing for me. And I think it's a huge thing for a lot of people that are coming into 5-hour recovery. There are certain medications that you're going to have to take. You know, I think that suffering from severe mental illness, schizophrenia, and that kind of stuff, again, I'm not a doctor, but those are things that you should look into. But I really, really think the Suboxone trend that's going on is the most dangerous trend that is going on because people are getting on Suboxone. They are using it for years and years and then coming to find out that they can't get themselves off of it. It's just like heroin. They have just replaced it. That's why this title of this episode is called Replacements. What do you replace your addiction with, right? What drug did you replace it with? Because if you're still using Suboxone, if you're still using methadone, if you're still using, Oxycontins or whatever it is, just in an orderly controlled method, but you're still struggling to get off of it to be a fully functioning, productive member of society, you're still caught up in addiction, right? You're not working recovery. And in fact, you're not even clean. Like, it's important to be clean. You want to be a better person. You want to work on yourselves daily. This generational thing needs to be broken. And I believe 5-hour recovery can help with that. It's time that we take a step back and go, you know what? We can do a lot more with what we got. It doesn't need to be so, oh my gosh, I can get off of methamphetamine and I can get on a pill that makes me feel the same as methamphetamine for the rest of my life and I'm good. And and if I feel depressed or angry or upset or whatever it is, I lose a family member or something terrible and tragic, I know that I can go to this doctor and this doctor will prescribe me medication that'll make me feel better. I think it's extremely important for us to get that out of our heads. It's time for us to move forward. So that's what we want to do at 5 Hour Recovery. I'm only going to keep this to a half hour. I appreciate everybody for listening. These are topics that we like to talk about on our Tuesday nights at 6:30. You can hit that subscribe button if you want to hear more videos. We have tons of videos out there. Next week, we should be back in our full rotation of testimonies and me and Dan on Saturdays. Please subscribe, hit the like button, comment. If you have some questions or some feedback, I'd love to hear it. I think the discussion is something that we need to have more than anything. I think in Seattle and Washington alone, we need to start seriously getting the right people with God, the right people with our elected officials, and the right recovery program to make a difference. And right now, it looks like 5 Hour Recovery is going to be that program. So thank you. I appreciate all the people that support. I appreciate all the people that have backed me this entire time. And yeah, let's start making a difference in the recovery field. I'm Johnny Ray, and thank you all for watching. Bye.